10 o'clock on the dot, and I just hit the record button on this demonstration, so we can go ahead and get started. My name is Velvet Nelson. I'm one of the co-founders of ProctorFree. I know that if you guys have been having discussions with us, you've most likely been talking to Jeff Kaplan, our Director of Partner Relations. He's actually at a conference today. He just missed his flight to Florida, but we've got some traffic problems here in Charlotte. But he sends his best wishes, and I'm happy to take over for him today and give a little bit of a demonstration of what we've got. I would love to first start with introductions. So I'm just going to go right down the list, and if you guys wouldn't mind just introducing yourselves. So I'll start with Angela.
Hi, this is Angela Washington. I'm CT MRI at Wake Tech, and I contacted you guys a while back when I was doing a benchmarking exercise.
Perfect. Carlos?
Good morning. This is Carlos McCormick, and I work in instructional support.
Dale?
This is Dale Weaver. I'm the Director of Systems and ITS at Wake Tech, and I'm in charge of all of the software implementations for the college.
Kai?
Hi, this is Kaiwan. I'm the Senior Dean of Strategic Innovations.
Lori? Lori, can you hear us? Okay. All right, and Melania says her mic is not working, so we'll skip over you, Melania. Tracy, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I met you at the instructors conference.
Okay.
Maybe last year, or it might have been 2 years ago.
Awesome. Great. Great. Well, it's nice to talk to you again. Awesome. Well, I will go ahead and get started with the presentation. Again, my name is Velvet Nelson. I actually, the community college system of North Carolina kind of holds a special place in my heart. That's where I started my career at Piedmont Community College in Roxborough, North Carolina, so just up the road from you guys. I was in the continuing education division there, focusing on delivering online classes for workforce development initiatives. But again, I'm the co-founder of ProctorFree. We started this in 2012 after I had a career in the North Carolina Community College system and then in the University of North Carolina system, mainly as an instructional designer and basically a project manager within continuing education and instructional design. But my last position was actually at a private school here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we were delivering a lot of online classes to thousands of students across the world. And we were accredited by the U.S. Department of Education. And we were getting pressure from the U.S. Department of Education to find ways to verify identity in our online classes. So we were delivering classes and handing out certificates at the end of the program. And we had no way of knowing that if the student who actually enrolled in the class was the one that was completing these modules. So in 2012, my business partner and I, Mike Murphy, who was at the same school, decided to exit out and start ProctorFree. The reason that we decided to start ProctorFree is mainly because we were looking for a solution. We really had specific needs at the school we were at, and the fact that we were delivering so many classes to so many students. And we needed something that was really scalable for us, that could scale up quickly for the thousands of students we were serving. In addition to that, we needed a cost-effective solution for our students. Most of our students didn't have a lot of money, and so we couldn't put an additional cost on them when they were enrolling in our classes by asking them to pay for a proctoring solution. And the last thing we needed was user friendliness. So students that were enrolling at our institution wanted to take classes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. and they wanted that on-demand aspect of the class. And so when we were looking at other proctoring solutions out there, we just really felt like there was nothing that checked that box for us. And so, you know, we were looking at live online proctoring solutions and on-demand solutions, and nothing really just fit our needs specifically. So that's why we started ProctorFree in 2012, by combining my expertise in higher education and instructional design and combining my business partner's expertise in biometrics and facial recognition. We were able to come up with a really cool product that we're really, really proud of. So we are a little bit different than other solutions that you may have seen out there. And I will say, please feel free to interject at any point in the demonstration if you have questions. I don't mind. So just let me know. And if you want to chat, I'll pay attention to the box. And if I see any chat questions, I'll try to answer those as they come in. So we are a little bit different than other proctoring solutions that you may have seen out there in the fact that we are completely online, completely on-demand exam proctoring solution. So we have developed a software. So rather than using any type of human intervention in what we're doing, we have created a software using machine learning and computer algorithms that helps us identify students and then protect academic integrity in exam sessions. So some people who talk to us say, you know, that just doesn't sound right. You know, is it as accurate as a human? And if you do a little bit of research nowadays, you'll actually read and understand that computers can read human behaviors just as accurately as humans can nowadays. And one thing that we do is we eliminate the need for the human error and human bias aspect that some of our competitors have in the live online proctoring space. So with us using a software as a service and providing this automated solution, we were able to check those boxes that we had issues with when we were looking for solutions. So we're scalable. You know, servers basically start up with the amount of volume that we've got coming in. So it doesn't matter if 10 students or 10,000 students want to test at once. They're all able to do that whenever they want. Cost effectiveness, because we are a software as a service, we don't have the labor costs that other services have. So we can be a lot more cost effective for you. And then user friendliness. We're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Student does not need to schedule an appointment in order to get started with us. It's a very user-friendly interface. We worked tirelessly with faculty, staff, and students to develop a solution that they responded to well. So everything that you see here today was designed by people in the industry and students who were using the software. We traveled up and down the East Coast for about 9 months building this out and making sure that we checked all the boxes. So how we work, we are a completely web-based application. So there are no tedious downloads with ProctorFree that you have to be concerned about. All you need is a standard microphone, webcam, and internet connection in order to get started with us. In fact, students are prompted to go through a compatibility check with us every 8 days just to make sure that their internet speed hasn't changed and their webcam and microphone are still working. So students don't need to be concerned with, you know, having to go out and run special tests or anything like that. All you have to do is run our simple compatibility check, and it'll let them know exactly what they need to do in order to get started with us. Our technology is 100% proprietary. It was built right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is a huge deal for us and something we're really proud of. Our partners really appreciate the fact that it was all built here in-house and that we are available 24/7. So if a partner school contacts us, whomever they speak with is going to be aware of their situation and available to answer any questions they may have. As far as students are concerned, again, they can call us 24/7 and get assistance. So we never mind helping them with any problems that they have specifically related to ProctorFree. We are ADA and FERPA compliant, so if this is something you're concerned with as far as ADA and disability services and working with your offices there, we are happy to do that. We do check all the boxes already, though, for 508 and 504. So students who need time accommodations or have special programs that they need allowed to run during an exam session need not worry about ProctorFree blocking that or detecting it. We will work hand in hand with any of your students and their counselors to make sure that our software meets their specific learning needs. FERPA is another huge issue for us. Obviously, student privacy is always a big concern for any organization that you're working with. We are FERPA compliant, so the only information that we're collecting from students are their first name, last name, and email address. So you don't have to be concerned that we're collecting any personally identifiable information or running background checks. We're never going to do that with the solution that we have. We do have a pretty simple integrations with several learning management systems. I don't know who could best answer this, maybe Carlos. I'm not sure if Jeff has asked, but what learning management system are you guys using at Wake Tech?
Hi, Velvet. This is Dale. We're currently using Blackboard Learn 9.1 April 2014 release.
Perfect. Okay, so we do have a really seamless, simple Blackboard integration. In fact, the majority of the schools that we work with are integrated with Blackboard. So this gives a single sign-on experience for the student. So they don't need a user ID and password in order to get started with us. They can access ProctorFree right within the learning management system.
Velvet?
Uh-huh.
Hi. Could I ask everybody on the call, please mute your mics? There's a lot of background noise, and I have a little bit of ADD that it's really distracting for me.
No problem. I can go ahead and mute everyone.
That would be great.
Okay. So I have muted everyone. So if you do have a specific question, you can unmute yourself. You're not blocked from that. So just, unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can chat it. So our Blackboard integration is really seamless. Like I said, the majority of our colleges and universities are Blackboard schools. They really appreciate this single sign-on experience. So from a student and faculty perspective, they do not need an additional user ID and password in order to access ProctorFree. They can log right into Blackboard and access us through their tool link, which is really, really cool and something we're really proud of. So now what I want to do is I want to kind of go into the student experience specifically and let you see what that looks like from the student side of things. While I'll do that, I will talk about some of the features that ProctorFree offers in our anomaly detection and cheating deterrence that we offer. So in order for a student to get started with us, it's really, really simple. Because it is a single sign-on experience, the first way that we are authenticating student identity is actually with them logging into Blackboard. So them using their user ID and password is authenticating them to get into ProctorFree. So once they've logged into Blackboard, the first thing that a student is going to have to do with ProctorFree is create a profile photo. This is really, really simple to do. What most of our schools are doing is either A, when the student is enrolling at the university, they are requiring them to create this profile photo, or B, a faculty member will actually require a student to do this within the first week of class. They'll make it an assignment and require students to go ahead and get started with ProctorFree. What we have found is that making students do it at orientation or something to that effect tends to be the most effective way and least stressful on you in order for a student to go ahead and create their profile photo. But it's very, very simple to get started with that. They just, again, access the ProctorFree tool within Blackboard. This is the first thing that they'll be taken to after the compatibility check. And this is all they need to do in order to complete their profile with us. This profile photo, it's actually going to stay with the student throughout their entire academic career. So a student, every time they log into ProctorFree, will have to match to this profile photo, and they cannot change it for any reason or anything to that effect. So it will always be with them and always accessible to the student in order to match to. We use biometrics in creating these facial profiles right here. So this is actually based on measurements of the face. So we measure between the eyes and ears, the forehead and chin, and different things like that. So as far as a student is concerned, they never have to be worried about makeup changes or hair color changes or anything to that effect. They'll always be able to match up to their profile photo because we do use those measurements. The only reason we would need to reset a profile photo is if there were major cosmetic changes, due to traumatic injury or something like that, and that's something we could work out. But like I said, it's that easy to get started with ProctorFree. Once they've created their profile photo, that is going to be their second tool of authentication for us in order to log into the system. So once a student is ready to take an exam, it's very, very easy to get started with us. First, they're going to log into Blackboard using that user ID and password. They're going to navigate to their class, and then they're going to navigate to their exams within the ProctorFree tool link. So once they've clicked on that ProctorFree tool link, this is the first page or the home page that a student will be brought to. Here, the student will have a list of examinations that are available to them to take within Blackboard. If it is a future exam and it's not open yet, it will be grayed out. The student will not be able to click on it. If it is an exam that's available to them, it will be blue, it'll be a hyperlink, and they'll be able to click on it in order to take that test. One of the things that we have in every student account across the board is a practice exam. And this is available however many times a student wants to take it. It will always be available to them. And what that practice test does is it allows the student to go in and actually take just a mock exam through ProctorFree in order for them to get acclimated to the system. We highly encourage faculty members to assign students an assignment within the first week of class that requires the student to go in and take this practice test. The reason that we do this is because we never want a student to say that they did poorly on an exam because they were not used to ProctorFree. We don't want to stress them out. We don't want to create a stressful situation for them, specifically when they're taking a high stakes exam like a midterm or a final. So by allowing the student to go in and take that practice test, we're basically just acclimating them to the system and allowing them to see what it's all about and get used to it. So once a student clicks on the exam in order to get started, they will be brought to the login page. So this is their second means of authentication with us. And this is where they are matching to that profile photo that they created when they enrolled at Wake Tech or when they enrolled in the class. So once the student clicks that start button, our system on the back end pulls their profile photo that's associated with their user ID and password and matches them to that profile photo. So they just stand for the camera, smile. It takes about 10 seconds for them to match to that profile photo. Again, it's based on facial measurements. So we have 7 programs that run simultaneously to verify that student's identity against that profile photo. In addition, you don't have to be concerned that once a student matches to this profile photo that they can have someone come in and sit in their place. We're running continuous identity verification. So if at any point anyone comes and sits in the screen that doesn't match this facial profile photo, we're able to flag that and identify that. So little Johnny can't have his mom come in and take the test for him after he's gotten through the credentialing phase. The last thing that we do for students prior to launching the test is we ask them to take an audio oath. So essentially what the student is doing is stating out loud an honor code. This honor code is a generic statement that we have put up there. We can change that to your honor code if you have one with a long-term agreement. Some schools ask us that. But more or less, what we are having the student do is say that honor code for 2 reasons. First, it's to get an audio profile of the student. So now we know what they sound like. So when they go into the exam, if anyone speaks that doesn't match this audio profile, we're able to flag that and tell you that there was someone else in the room, or there was someone on a cell phone or earpiece that spoke into the microphone that doesn't match the audio profile that the person created at the beginning of the exam. The second reason we do this is because of a little bit of research that we did prior to building anything. Research shows that individuals who say an honor code prior to taking in tests are less likely to cheat. So it's just a little bit of a deterrence factor for us. We have found, in student surveys and such that students say, saying that honor code really reminded me what I agreed to when I enrolled at this university or college, and I know that I shouldn't be doing anything that is defined as cheating. So once they've said that honor code, they're going to hit the continue button. We're going to ask them if they're ready to take their exam. They're going to click yes, and then we take them right into their examination. So here, for a student, it's not a lot of difference for them. So the exam is within Blackboard, so they're familiar with the environment. They're familiar with the test system. The only thing that's really different to the student is that ProctorFree is running, and how we remind the student that that is going on is in the bottom right-hand corner. We have this mirror image, and this has been blown up so you guys can see it clearly, but we have this mirror image in the bottom right-hand corner that is basically a live feed of the student taking the examination. The reason that we have that going is because we never want a student to forget that they are being proctored. We don't want a student to get up and move around. This is their reminder that they are being proctored through ProctorFree and shouldn't do anything to impact the exam results. The second reason that we have that there is because, again, a little bit of research on our end brought us to the self-evaluation theory, which states that an individual looking in the mirror is less likely to do something unethical. So no one wants to see themselves do something bad. So it's a bit of a deterrence factor again. It's essentially, deterring the student from doing anything just because they don't want to see themselves cheat. This is just like FaceTime or Skype though, so it's not unfamiliar to the student. They're familiar with seeing themselves in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen nowadays, so it's not something that's a distraction to students in an exam session. In addition, while the student is in the exam, this is where we're using the webcam and microphone to monitor their environment. So we're listening for additional voices, we're looking for additional people in the background, we're listening for pages turning, we're listening for cell phones ringing or texting. We're using the webcam to try to identify additional devices as well. So a student can't have a second monitor or an iPad or an iPhone with them. We're able to flag that and identify that using some lighting technologies and reflections and different things like that. In addition to using that webcam and microphone to monitor their environment, we're also monitoring their desktop. So we're recording their screen. So we have a video recording of everything they're clicking on during the exam session. And in addition to that, we're flagging things that are indicative of cheating. So if they are printing the screen, if they are cutting, copying, and pasting, if they are Googling answers, we're able to flag that and identify that and let you know that a student is doing that. Lastly, some faculty members often ask us if a student is able to open a periodic table of elements or a calculator or anything to that effect. Yes, we do allow that. We don't block those applications from the student. We just ask the professor let us know when they're setting up the exam and the exam description, and that way ProctorFree gets the notification that they don't need to worry about a calculator being opened or anything like that. And that's, again, all within the settings. So once a faculty member sets up an exam in Blackboard, all they have to do to enable ProctorFree is click on a box and go into our settings and let us know. All of this information that we're collecting is being sent up to the cloud in real time. Okay, so we have a question. How do you know another window or tab is not already open when they begin the test? That's a great question. So we do have, and I should have highlighted this, we do have a browser security measure, I guess is what I should call it. So when a student starts an exam, the first thing that we do is scan for additional tabs or additional browsers open. And if they do have something to that effect, like Skype or anything like that open, we say an illegal application was identified on your computer, please shut it down before proceeding. And they cannot navigate into the exam until that application is shut down. So that's how we identify that and have them shut it down before they start the test. Great question. So again, we are recording this in real time and sending it up to our cloud servers to be analyzed. So once the student is finished with the exam and they submit their answers and close out of ProctorFree, within about 30 minutes to an hour, you actually will have a report available of the student's exam results. Can you identify if they are running the test through a virtual machine on their system? We do not. So I'll kind of highlight this, and we may need to forward this question on to our CTO if I don't give you a clear enough answer. We did at one time offer a virtual machine option for students to take their exam. We have since taken that away because we felt like it was basically bogging down people's machines and giving them not as great of experience as we had. So the student is actually not using a virtual machine at this time. But if you need more clarification on that, I can definitely forward that question to our CTO. Yes, it is possible to use the existing Wake Tech student ID picture as the profile picture for ProctorFree. So if you do have profile photos on file and you want to use that, we can do that. We can load those into our system. The student does not need to create a profile photo at that time with us. They would just match the existing profile photo. Great question. Okay. So within about, like I said, 30 minutes to an hour, you do have a report available of the student exam results. So when a faculty member logs into Blackboard, again, they can go to the ProctorFree tool link and be navigated into the back-end portal of our system. So here, this is going to basically give you a list of the exams that have been assigned through ProctorFree. So here, a faculty member can go in and see an entire list of exams that they have made available that require students to use ProctorFree. Once they click on that exam, they'll actually pull up the roster of the students that have taken the exam through ProctorFree. If they have not taken the exam through ProctorFree, it will say not taken exam yet. And I want to get back to this question that Dale has. Okay, I gotcha. That's a good question, Dale. What I'd like to do is forward that on to our CTO. Let me copy and, well, let me not do that. Let me see if I can get an answer from him right now. Give me 1 second. One more second, sorry. Okay, so I just sent that question, so I will let you know if I get a response. It will actually pop up on my phone. So, all right. So as a faculty member, you can go in and pull up this roster. And again, if a student has not taken an exam with us, it will let you know that they have not taken their exam yet. If they have taken their examination, they will have a trust score. So a trust score is a numeric number or score that we give to students to give you an indication of how likely it is the student cheated or not. It's on a scale of 0 to 100. So the lower the trust score, it's just like a grade, the lower the trust score, the more likely it is a student cheated. These colors have since changed. So now they're red, yellow, and green. So of course, red are low trust scores. We definitely want you to review those. There's some behaviors that are indicative of cheating. Yellow is caution, so you may want to review those. There's something that happened that we feel like is worth reviewing. And then green is, you know what, the student did fine. There was nothing there that was really indicative of cheating, and we feel like you don't need to review those trust score reports. The reason that we flag them that way is, again, because faculty members in our research said that they didn't have time to look at 100 trust score reports in a day. So they wanted us to really narrow it down to the trust scores that they needed to review. And so that's what we've done here. We have generic benchmarks on the red, yellow, and green. I believe it's 80 and below, 80 and above is green, 70 to 89 is yellow, and below 69 below is red. Those can always change, you know, once you start using the system. If you feel like you want it to be 75 and below is red, we can do that. That's not a problem at all. As far as a faculty member is concerned, if you want to review a student's trust score, all you have to do is click on their name and click Review Exam. And what that allows you to do is actually go right into our back end and pull up their individual trust score report. So here is a trust score report for one of our employees, Jeff Kaplan. So on the left-hand side of the screen, what you will have in every trust score report is a video recording of the test session. So you will have a recording of the actual individual taking the exam. That's what you can see here. Beneath that, you will actually have a video recording of the screen as well. So once you hit that play button, both of those videos play simultaneously. So you'll be able to see what the student was doing and what was going on their screen during the examination. On the right-hand side, what we've done is we've taken the liberty of flagging specific behaviors that are indicative of cheating, so what we call anomalies. So again, we know you don't have time to sit down and look at a 2-hour examination. So we have taken the liberty of recording every behavior that was flagged down to the minute and second of when it occurred and whether it was a medium issue, critical, high, low, or unrecorded issue. So, you know, if it's unreported, that means that we did not allow it to impact the trust score because of some reason or another. But here, once you click on those behaviors, you'll actually be able to go to the exact minute and second in that video of when the behavior occurred and actually see exactly what happened for yourself. So once you click on that behavior, now you have the evidence to determine if cheating occurred or not. If you want to make comments, all you have to do is click on that comment box to the right of the behavior. You can upgrade anomalies, downgrade anomalies, make comments, you know, really write out your thought process. And, you know, this is something that I want to review at a later time, so I'm going to flag this to come back and look at it. I feel like the student was cheating here because ... So all of those notes and all of that information that you put in here and activity that you do will stay with this report. And the reason that we have that built into the solution is because we give you the ability to forward these reports along. So once you as a faculty member has reviewed this report and made your comments and upgraded and downgraded behaviors, you can forward this along to the appropriate party that you feel needs to review it. So if it's a dean of students, judicial board, academic affairs, whoever's responsible, all you have to do is type in their email address and hit that forward button, and it'll send this report along to that individual. And it will have all of your comments, all of your notes, all of the behaviors that you flagged, so they can see your thought process and determine if this should go into the next level of review or judicial review or whatever it may be at your institution. So that gives you an idea of the software itself. The last thing I want to do is I actually want to show you a video of Jeff reviewing his report so you can see that more in action. So I'm going to hit the play button.
Hi there, everybody. This is Jeff Kaplan with ProctorFree. I'm going to give you a real quick walkthrough of all the stuff that we can do in the back end so you can review the videos some of you may have seen. Once I log in with my username and password, I will then click on Pass or Current Exam, depending on where and when I am logging in. And I'll click on the student with the 0 trust score. Who could be so bad at testing? Yep, that's me, Jeff Kaplan. Let's click on me and see what happened. As a quick refresher, you're always going to see the on-camera activity, the on-screen activity, and all the computer behavior as well as anomaly annotations. If you click and begin the exam, you can see that right away I'm looking at my mobile device. I even pick up my phone. It was a tech support call, and we're always on call. You can see when glare is detected from the mobile device, when I'm averting my eyes, and even up to now when I am leaving. I just want to do something quick to show you that when you pause it, the timeline here will match up to the timeline below. If we skip ahead a little bit, I'm going to disappear briefly. Test taker leaves. And the next one we see is that an unidentifiable user is in camera view. That's Alicia. See you later, Alicia. And we'll keep chugging along and show you something different. Up here at this point, a Control C occurred. What I did was did a copy and paste, and the software tracked it. It blocks it, and we report it. And then a moment later, I'm going to take a screenshot of the questions, which I'm doing here. I'm also doing things like looking at my camera, looking at the mobile device, do that quite a bit in this video. And that's really all about it at this time. So, any questions at all, you know how you get a hold of me. It's Jeff, Jeff, at Proctor.
All right, so that is a little bit of the software. So I want to get back to Dale's question first. I did ask my CTO, and he said essentially that we have been able to detect some virtual machines and block those. So again, when we're starting, we'll say an illegal application was detected, you need to shut it down. He said that we are very cautious about that because we've only seen a couple of instances of that. And so, you know, it's still, we're always developing our product. So, you know, there's always a chance that someone will create a new virtual machine. But we do audit our videos. So, you know, we will do everything in our power to block that as much as we can. And then Angela has sent a question. Okay. Great. A second monitor, what if a student attached a second monitor to their computer? So we do detect that and require the student to actually unattach any additional devices do they have to their computer. So if that second monitor is plugged into the computer that they're taking an exam on, prior to launching the test, we say a second monitor was detected, you need to unplug it before you can move forward. So what other questions do you have?
I guess we can unmute ourselves if we have questions, right?
Absolutely, yes. Feel free.
I don't, but
No, that's great. And I can unmute everyone and we'll see. Yeah, it seems a little bit quieter. So now everyone's unmuted. So shoot with questions, anything you have. Just so you guys know, I am recording this again, so I will send the recording and the slides to Carlos at the completion of the presentation as well. Great. Well, it looks like no one has any additional questions. So again, what I'll do is, okay, great. How does the software interact with screen readers or other assistance devices? So again, any type of screen reader or assistance device, if the faculty member or the Office of Disability Services lets us know what student it is that needs those additional resources, we can flag that in our system and it will bypass looking for those and blocking those for that particular student. If you want us to audit that video after it's completed, so you want us to do a review just to make sure everything was kosher and there was nothing that happened, you just let us know and we can do that. Right, so what do we feel is the weakest link in ProctorFree and how are you working to address that? That's a good question. So, you know, I'll revert back to instances that we've seen of cheating and kind of let you know what we've seen and how we're choosing to address that. So, you know, some of the things that we've seen, we had a computer science student who basically tried to hack our software. We were able to detect that and flag that, and we talked specifically to the professor and got it worked out. But we did have a computer science student who did try to hack our software. And there's always going to be students who are trying to game the system and work around that. And typically, we're able to flag that and identify that. One of the biggest things that we're always concerned about is communicating with the students effectively when you start using ProctorFree. We don't do any type of agreement where we would sign an agreement with you today and start using the software next week. We want to spend time educating the students so they don't feel threatened by ProctorFree and they don't feel like, oh my gosh, this is a software that's going to catch me cheating. No, we're software that's trying to make life convenient for you. We don't want you to have to travel to a test center every time you want to take an examination and use gas mileage and pay for parking and all of that other stuff. So it's really communicating with the student, being an advocate for them, we found is really beneficial and students feel less threatened. How many students could test at the same time so that the report can be generated in a timely manner? I'm interested in high peak testing times. Fantastic question. So we are completely scalable. So we use Amazon Web Services in order to operate our software. So it does not matter how many students are using our system at one time. Our servers spin up for every 4,000 students. So if we hit 3,750 students, another server spins up, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. So we've never had any instances of us crashing with a high volume of students. The highest number we've had at one time is right around, I think it was right around 15 or 20,000 exams going at once. But again, we could scale up beyond that if we needed to. And the actual cost for students, that's a good question, Angela. I'm not sure what pricing Jeff Kaplan gave to you. I don't want to contradict anything that he gave to you because we are flexible and work with each institution the best way we can. But typically, a student who is paying for an examination with ProctorFree is typically paying anywhere from $15 an exam to $20 an exam based on volume of the school. So if a school is doing, 500 exams or less, they're going to be paying a higher cost than a school who's doing, 10,000 exams. And that number can go down. So, we do have some schools that students are paying $6 an exam just because they have, a good enough volume. But again, go with, you know, I'll have Jeff follow up and send over the pricing sheet that he gave you guys and let you see that. Great. Well, again, I'm going to send this recording over to Carlos. That will have all of my contact information in it. Okay, what is the average time length in comparison to the costs? So we actually do not charge our students per time length. So the exams can be however long you want them. It's per exam instance. So if you're paying that $10 per exam or whatever it is, the exam can be an hour or 5 hours. It does not matter to us. We don't limit the time of the exam. Awesome. Well, thank you. I always enjoy giving our presentations. So I hope this was helpful. Again, I will follow up with the recording and my contact information. So if you guys have any other questions, you can email me or call me and let me know. And then I will have Jeff follow up with you guys as soon as he returns to make sure that you guys don't have any questions or anything like that.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.